There is a question that haunts the edges of every waking moment. A question most people never dare to ask themselves with complete honesty. It is not about success, or happiness, or meaning, though it touches all of these things. It is simpler and more terrifying than any of that. The question is this: what are you doing with the time you have been given? Not tomorrow, not someday, right now. This moment, this hour, this single, unrepeatable day that will never come again. What are you doing with it? Seneca understood something that most of us spend our entire lives running from. He understood that we are not promised years or decades or even another sunrise. We are promised nothing except this breath, this heartbeat, this present instant that is already dissolving into memory as you hear these words. And yet we live as though time is an infinite resource, as though there will always be more of it waiting for us just around the corner, as though we can afford to waste it on things that do not matter, on distractions that leave us empty, on the comfortable numbness of days that blur together into a fog of forgetting. In his essay on the shortness of life, Seneca made a declaration that cuts through centuries of human delusion like a blade through silk. Life is long enough, he said, and it has been given in sufficiently generous measure to allow the accomplishment of the very greatest things, if the whole of it is well invested. But when life is squandered through soft and careless living, when it is spent on no good end, we are finally driven to see that it has passed away before we even knew it was passing. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Life is long if you know how to use it. Think about that for a moment. Really think about it. The problem is not that life is short. The problem is that we are careless with it. We treat time as though it costs us nothing when it costs us everything. We give it away freely to things that steal from us, to people who do not value it, to habits that do not serve us, to distractions that leave us hollow. We act as though we are immortal, as though death is something that happens to other people, as though we have endless reserves of days stretching out before us into some vague and distant future. But Seneca saw through this lie. He saw that most people are not truly living at all. They are existing. They are moving through the motions. They are filling their days with noise and busyness and the illusion of productivity, while their actual lives slip through their fingers like water. They tell themselves they will start living tomorrow, next week, next year, when things settle down, when they have more money, when they have more time, and tomorrow never comes. Next week dissolves into the same patterns. Next year arrives and nothing has changed except that they are older and more tired, and the dream they once had feels further away than ever. This is the great tragedy of the human condition. Not that we die, but that we die without ever having truly lived. Not that time runs out, but that we waste it so carelessly that when the end finally comes, we look back and realize we gave our lives to things that did not matter. We spent our hours on things that did not deserve them. We traded the irreplaceable currency of our existence for temporary comfort, for distraction, for the approval of people whose opinions we will not even remember in a year. Seneca was brutal in his assessment of how people waste their lives. He looked at the wealthy man who spends his days accumulating more wealth he will never use, and he saw waste. He looked at the ambitious man who sacrifices his present happiness for future glory that may never arrive, and he saw waste. He looked at the man who fills every moment with entertainment and pleasure and stimulation, never sitting still, never being alone with his own thoughts, and he saw the most insidious waste of all. Because that man is not even aware he is wasting his life. He thinks he is living it. He thinks the endless scroll through screens and the constant consumption of content and the perpetual distraction is what life is supposed to be. But it is not life. It is avoidance of life. It is running from the one thing we should be running toward, which is the experience of being fully present in our own existence, aware of its preciousness, conscious of its brevity, intentional about how we spend it. Seneca understood that attention is the currency of existence. Where you place your attention, you place your life. If you place it on things that do not matter, you are giving your life to things that do not matter. If you allow it to be captured by every notification, every advertisement, every passing impulse, then you are not living your life at all. Someone else is living it for you. Something else is living it for you. The Stoics had a practice they called the discipline of attention. It was the recognition that at any given moment, you have a choice about where to direct your awareness, your focus, your mental energy. And that choice is perhaps the most important choice you will ever make, because it determines not just what you do with your time, but who you become in the process. If you spend your attention on gossip, you become someone shaped by gossip. If you spend it on complaint, you become someone defined by complaint. If you spend it on distraction, you become someone who cannot focus. But if you spend it on wisdom, on growth, on things that matter, on becoming better than you were yesterday, then you become someone worth becoming. This is what Seneca meant when he said that life is long if you know how to use it. He was not talking about chronological time. He was talking about the quality of awareness you bring to your days. He was talking about living deliberately instead of reactively. He was talking about the difference between a life that is consciously constructed and a life that simply happens to you while you are busy looking at your phone. Most people go through life in a state of semi-consciousness. They wake up and immediately reach for their device, filling their mind with other people's thoughts before they have had a chance to think their own. They move through their morning routine on autopilot, not really tasting their coffee, not really feeling the water in the shower, not really seeing the world around them. They go to work and perform tasks that require only a fraction of their attention, letting their mind wander to worries about the future or regrets about the past. They come home exhausted, not from hard work, but from the effort of resisting their own boredom, of pushing through days that feel empty even when they are full of activity. And then they collapse in front of a screen and scroll and watch, consume, until their eyes can barely stay open. And they call this relaxation. They call this rest. But it is not rest. It is escape. It is the desperate attempt to not feel the emptiness that comes from spending your days on things that do not align with who you actually are or what you actually value. It is the attempt to not hear the quiet voice inside that keeps asking if this is really all there is. If this is really how you want to spend the only life you will ever have. Seneca was merciless with people who lived this way. He said they are not living but preparing to live. They are always getting ready for some future moment when they will finally start doing the thing they were meant to do, being the person they were meant to be, living the life they were meant to live. But that moment never comes because they never choose it. They are always waiting for permission, for the right circumstances, for more time. And time keeps passing. Days become weeks. Weeks become years. Years become decades. And the person who is going to do something meaningful with their life looks up one day and realizes they are old and the chance has passed and they spent their whole life waiting. This is why Seneca insisted on the practice of memento mori, the remembrance of death. Not because he was morbid or pessimistic or obsessed with darkness, but because death is the thing that makes life matter. If you had infinite time, nothing would be urgent. Nothing would be precious. You could always do it tomorrow. But you do not have infinite time. You have this day. Maybe you have tomorrow. Maybe you do not. The awareness of mortality is not meant to fill you with dread. It is meant to wake you up. It is meant to strip away the trivial and reveal what is essential. It is meant to make you ask yourself if the way you are spending your time right now is the way you want to spend your life. Because here is what most people do not understand until it is too late. Your life is not something that exists separate from your days. Your days are your life. This day is your life. If you waste today, you have wasted a piece of your life that you will never get back. If you spend today distracted, anxious, numb, going through the motions, then you have spent your life that way. There is no magical moment in the future where your real life begins. This is it. This is the only life you have. And every moment you spend waiting for it to start is a moment you have lost forever. Seneca wrote about this with an urgency that still feels palpable 2,000 years later. He wrote about the man who plans to retire someday so he can finally live, not realizing that he is spending the best years of his life preparing for years that may never come. He wrote about the man who puts off important conversations, meaningful experiences, the pursuit of wisdom, telling himself he will get to it when things are less busy. When he has more time, when conditions are better, Seneca asked this man a question that echoes across the centuries. What guarantee do you have that you will reach that later time? What makes you think death will wait for you to be ready? The truth is that most people live as though they have a deal with death, as though death has agreed to come only when it is convenient, only after they have had time to prepare, only after they have done all the things they meant to do. But death makes no such deals. Death is not interested in your plans, or your excuses, or your good intentions. Death comes when it comes, indifferent to whether you are ready. It's different to whether you have lived well or wasted your chance. This is not meant to be depressing. This is meant to be clarifying. If you knew with absolute certainty that you had only 1 year left to live, would you spend it the way you are spending it now? Would you spend it scrolling through social media? Would you spend it in relationships that drain you? Would you spend it on work that feels meaningless? Would you spend it worrying about what other people think of you? Or would you ruthlessly cut away everything that does not matter and focus with laser-like intensity on the things and people and experiences that actually make you feel alive? Seneca believed that we should live every day as though it might be our last, not in a frantic, desperate way, but in a way that brings clarity and purpose to our choices. He believed that when you truly understand the finitude of your existence, you stop wasting time on things that do not deserve it. You stop saying yes to things you do not want to do. You stop surrounding yourself with people who diminish you. You stop filling your life with noise and distraction because you realize that silence and stillness and the ability to think deeply are among the most valuable things you can possess. The problem is that this awareness requires effort. It requires you to constantly remind yourself of what you know to be true but would prefer to forget. It requires you to look at your life honestly and admit where you are being careless, where you are drifting, where you are settling for less than you know you are capable of. And this is uncomfortable. It is much easier to stay numb. It is much easier to tell yourself that you will figure it out later, that you still have time, that this is just how life is. But Seneca would tell you that this is exactly how you lose your life. Not dramatically, not all at once, but quietly. Day by day, hour by hour. Until you wake up one day and realize that years have passed and you have nothing to show for them except a vague sense of disappointment and the lingering question of what you did with all that time. Here is what Seneca understood that most people miss. Time is the only thing you actually own. It is the only true resource you have. You do not own your money because it can be taken from you. You do not own your health because it can fail. You do not own your relationships because people can leave. But your time, the moments of your life, those belong to you absolutely. And yet this is the one thing people are most careless with. They will guard their money carefully, invest it wisely, track every dollar. But they will throw away ours like they are worthless. They will give their time to anyone who asks for it. They will spend entire evenings doing things they do not even enjoy. They will waste years in situations they know are wrong for them. Because change feels too hard. Seneca said that people are frugal when it comes to their possessions, but wildly extravagant when it comes to their time, the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. He pointed out that you would never let someone come into your house and steal your money, yet you let people come into your life and steal your time without a second thought. You let them interrupt you, impose on you, demand your attention for their trivial concerns. And you do this because you have not fully grasped that giving someone your time is giving them a piece of your life. It is not renewable. It is not unlimited. Every hour you give to someone or something is an hour you will never have again. This means you have to become protective of your time in a way that might feel selfish to people who are used to having easy access to you. You have to learn to say no. Not rudely, not angrily, but firmly. You have to decide what actually matters to you and then defend that decision against the thousand small encroachments that will try to steal your focus. You have to accept that you cannot do everything, be everything, please everyone. You have limited time and therefore you must make choices. And every choice to say yes to one thing is simultaneously a choice to say no to everything else. The Stoics talked about this in terms of preferred indifference. There are many things in life that are nice to have but not essential. Wealth is a preferred indifferent. Fame is a preferred indifferent. Pleasure is a preferred indifferent. They are fine if you have them, but they are not what makes your life good. What makes your life good is the use you make of your time, the quality of your character, the depth of your wisdom, the integrity of your choices. These are the things that actually matter. These are the things you can control. And yet these are the things most people neglect while they chase after indifference. While they waste their lives pursuing things that will not satisfy them even if they get them. Seneca watched people do this constantly. He watched them sacrifice the present for the future, trading real experience for imagined security. He watched them delay gratification endlessly, telling themselves they would be happy when they achieved this goal or acquired that thing, never noticing that they were spending their whole lives in a state of postponement. He watched them reach old age having never truly lived because they were always preparing to live, always getting ready, always waiting for the right moment. And he asked them, when will you begin to live? When will you finally claim your own time? When will you stop letting others dictate how you spend your days? The answer he wanted them to give was, now. Right now. This moment. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when circumstances are better. Now. Because now is all you have. Now is all you ever have. The past is gone. The future is uncertain. This present moment is the only thing that is real. It's the only thing you can actually do something with. But living in the present is harder than it sounds. It requires practice. It requires discipline. It requires you to constantly bring your attention back to what is actually happening rather than what might happen or what did happen. This is why the Stoics practiced mindfulness long before it became a modern buzzword. They understood that the untrained mind naturally drifts into worry about the future and rumination about the past. It naturally seeks distraction, novelty, stimulation. It naturally resists the simplicity of just being here now. Fully engaged with the task at hand, Seneca would tell you to examine your day and notice how much of it you actually experienced versus how much of it you sleepwalked through. Notice how often your mind was somewhere else while your body was performing some action. Notice how often you were physically present with another person but mentally absent, scrolling through your thoughts or your phone instead of actually connecting. Notice how often you rushed through something that deserved your full attention because you were already thinking about the next thing. This is what it means to waste time. Not just doing nothing, but doing something while being somewhere else, never fully inhabiting any moment. The practice Seneca recommends is simple but difficult. At the end of each day, review it. Ask yourself what you did with your time. Do not judge yourself harshly, but do not lie to yourself either. Look at where you were intentional and where you were careless. Look at where you acted in accordance with your values and where you betrayed them. Look at where you were present and where you were absent. And then, crucially, think about tomorrow. Not in terms of what you have to do, but in terms of how you want to be. What kind of day do you want to have? What kind of person do you want to be in that day? This practice transforms time from something that happens to you into something you actively shape. It moves you from a reactive stance toward life to a proactive one. Instead of waking up and seeing what the day throws at you, you wake up with intention. You've already decided what matters. You have already committed to being present, to being deliberate, to using your time well. And this changes everything, because it means you are no longer a passive victim of circumstance. You are an active participant in your own life. But here is where it gets difficult. Living intentionally means confronting the parts of your life that are not working. It means admitting that the job you hate is stealing years of your life. It means acknowledging that the relationship that drains you is not going to magically improve. It means recognizing that the habits you have are creating a life you do not want. And this is painful. It is painful to see clearly because seeing clearly demands change, and change is hard. It is so much easier to stay numb, to keep drifting, to tell yourself that it is not that bad, that you will deal with it later. But Seneca would not let you off that easily. He would ask you, how many more years are you going to give to this thing that is killing you slowly? How many more days are you going to waste being someone you are not? How much more time are you going to spend in situations you know are wrong for you? And at what point will you finally say, enough, I am taking my life back. I am going to use what remains of my time for something that actually matters. Because here's the thing about wasted time. You do not get it back. There is no reset button. There is no do-over. The hours you spent today are gone. The years you spent in that dead-end situation are gone. You cannot reclaim them. You cannot get a refund. All you can do is decide not to waste anymore. All you can do is start now, today, this moment, to live differently, to live intentionally, to live like someone who understands that time is precious because it is finite. Seneca believed that most people do not discover how they should have lived until they are dying. They spend their lives sleepwalking, going through the motions, following the path of least resistance. And then, at the end, when death is finally undeniable, they wake up. They see clearly for the first time. They realize what mattered and what did not. They realize how much time they wasted on things that did not deserve it. They realize how many moments they missed because they were not paying attention. And then it is too late. The time is gone. The chances are gone. All that remains is regret and the bitter recognition that they had the opportunity to live fully. And they did not take it. But it does not have to be this way. You do not have to wait until the end to wake up. You can wake up now. You can look at your life with clear eyes and honest assessment. You can ask yourself the hard questions. Are you living or just existing? Are you present or absent? Are you building something meaningful or just passing time? Are you becoming who you want to be or whose circumstances are making you? And based on your answers, you can choose. You can choose differently. You can take your time back. This is what Seneca means by knowing how to use life. It is not about productivity in some shallow corporate sense. It is not about squeezing more tasks into your day or optimizing your schedule. It is about aligning your use of time with what actually matters to you. It is about spending your days in ways that reflect your values rather than contradict them. It is about building a life that feels true, that feels like yours, feels worth the time it costs, and this requires ruthlessness. You have to be willing to cut things out. You have to be willing to disappoint people. You have to be willing to look selfish to those who do not understand what you are doing. Because the alternative is spending your life trying to please everyone else, while your own dreams die quietly in the background. The alternative is reaching the end and realizing you lived someone else's life, followed someone else's script, pursued someone else's definition of success while ignoring your own. Seneca saw this clearly. He saw how people give their lives to things they do not care about because they are afraid to claim what they actually want. He saw how they waste years seeking approval from people whose opinions should not matter. He saw how they trade their freedom for security, their authenticity for acceptance, their time for money they will not live long enough to spend. And he begged them to stop. He begged them to see that the only thing that actually belongs to them is their time. And if they give that away carelessly, they have given away everything. The question then becomes, what do you do with this awareness? How do you take this understanding and turn it into a lived reality? Because it is one thing to read about the shortness of life and nod along, agreeing with every word. It is another thing entirely to actually change how you live based on that understanding. Most people will hear this message, feel moved by it for a moment, and then return to exactly the same patterns they had before. They will waste tomorrow the same way they wasted today. They will make the same excuses. They will fall back into the same comfortable numbness. But some people will hear this, and something will shift. Something will click. They will realize that they have been given a gift, a chance, a finite amount of time to do something with their existence, and they will stop wasting it. They will start saying no to things that do not matter. They will start protecting their attention like the precious resource it is. They will start building days that feel intentional instead of accidental. They will start becoming the person they want to be instead of the person circumstances are making them. This is not easy work. This is some of the hardest work you will ever do because it requires constant vigilance. The default mode of human existence is drift. The default mode is to follow the path of least resistance, To do what everyone else is doing? To numb yourself with distraction when things get uncomfortable. Fighting against that default requires effort every single day. It requires you to wake up and consciously choose how you will spend your time instead of just letting the day happen to you. It requires you to pause throughout the day and ask yourself if what you are doing right now is what you actually want to be doing, or if you have slipped back into autopilot. Seneca practiced this daily. Every evening, he would review his day, examining his choices, his reactions, his use of time. He would ask himself where he had been wise and where he had been foolish, where he had been present and where he had been absent, where he had lived according to his principles and where he had compromised them. And he did this not to torture himself with guilt, but to learn, to improve, to gradually become better at the art of living. This is what the Stoics meant by philosophy as a way of life. It was not an abstract intellectual exercise. It was a practical toolkit for navigating existence. It was a set of principles and practices designed to help you live well in the time you have. And the core principle, the one everything else builds on, is this: time is your life, so treat it accordingly. Do not waste it. Do not squander it. Do not give it away to things that leave you empty. Use it intentionally. Use it wisely. Use it to build something that matters. And what matters? This is the question each person must answer for themselves. Seneca cannot tell you what should matter to you, but he can tell you that whatever it is, you are not spending enough time on it. You are allowing it to be crowded out by lesser things. You are telling yourself you will get to it later when you have more time, more money, more energy, more something. But later is a lie. Later is the place where dreams go to die. Later is how you waste your whole life waiting for a moment that never comes. The only time you have is now. The only moment you can act in is this one. And every moment you spend waiting is a moment gone forever. This is what Seneca wanted people to understand. This is what he wrote about with such urgency and passion. He had seen too many people waste their lives. He had watched too many brilliant, capable people fritter away their days on trivialities. He had seen too much potential go unrealized, too many lives unlived, and he could not bear the waste of it. So he wrote to wake people up. He wrote to shake them out of their comfortable sleepwalking. He wrote to remind them that they are mortal, that their time is limited, that the days are passing, whether they use them well or not. He wrote to give them permission to claim their own lives, to stop living according to someone else's expectations, to stop waiting for permission to pursue what matters to them. And what he wrote 2,000 years ago is just as relevant today, perhaps more so. Because we live in an age of distraction unlike anything Seneca could have imagined. We live in an age where entire industries are built on capturing and monetizing your attention. We live in an age where the default state is to be interrupted constantly, pulled in 1,000 directions, overwhelmed by information and stimulation and demands on your time. We live in an age where it is easier than ever to waste your entire life without even realizing you are doing it. This is why Seneca's message matters now more than ever. Because if you do not actively, consciously, deliberately take control of your time, someone else will take it from you. Some app will take it. Some algorithm will take it. Some corporation that profits from your distraction will take it. And you will reach the end of your life having given your most precious resource to forces that did not care about you, did not value you, did not even see you as a human being, but only as a source of data and revenue. But you can choose differently. You can decide that your time belongs to you. You can decide that your attention is not for sale to the highest bidder. You can decide that your life is too valuable to waste on things that do not matter. And you can start living accordingly. Not perfectly, not without mistakes, but intentionally, consciously, with the understanding that every moment counts, because every moment is a piece of your life. This means you will have to make hard choices. You will have to let go of things that are comfortable but not meaningful. You will have to disappoint people who expect you to remain the person you have always been. You will have to face the discomfort of change, the uncertainty of pursuing what actually matters to you instead of what is expected of you. But the alternative is worse. The alternative is reaching the end with nothing but regrets. With the terrible knowledge that you had the chance to live fully and you let it slip away, Seneca believed that the examined life, the intentional life, the life lived with full awareness of its preciousness and brevity, was the only life worth living. Everything else was just marking time, filling space, waiting for something that would never come. He believed that human beings were capable of so much more than they typically achieve, not because they lack ability, but because they lack focus. They scatter their energy across too many trivial pursuits. They give their time to too many things that do not deserve it. They never concentrate their full power on anything long enough to create something truly meaningful. Imagine if you took all the time you currently waste, all the hours spent scrolling and distracting yourself and doing things you do not care about, and focused it on one thing that actually mattered to you. Imagine if you spent a year, 5 years, 10 years, giving your full attention to building something, learning something, becoming something. What could you create? What could you achieve? What could you become? The answer is probably far beyond what you currently believe is possible. But you will never know, because you are too busy wasting time on things that will not matter tomorrow, let alone in 10 years. This is the tragedy Seneca saw repeated over and over. People with immense potential spending their lives on trivialities. People capable of greatness settling for mediocrity. People who could have built something beautiful choosing instead to build nothing at all. And the reason was always the same. They did not understand that time was limited. They did not live with death in mind. They did not wake up each morning with the awareness that this could be their last day and therefore they should make it count. The practice of memento mori, remembering that you will die, is not meant to make you morbid or depressed. It is meant to make you alive. It is meant to strip away the trivial and reveal what is essential. When you truly understand that your time is finite, you stop worrying about what other people think. You stop caring about impressing people you do not respect. You stop wasting energy on grudges and resentments and petty conflicts. You let go of everything that does not matter so you can focus on everything that does. And what does matter? Love matters. Growth matters. Wisdom matters. Character matters. The quality of your relationships matters. The depth of your experiences matters. The person you are becoming matters. The contribution you make matters. The way you treat others matters. The integrity of your choices matters. These are the things that will still matter when you are dying. When all the trivial concerns have fallen away and you see with perfect clarity what your life was actually about. Seneca knew this because he lived with death always in view. He was a Stoic philosopher in Nero's Rome, which meant he lived under constant threat. He was exiled, recalled, made wealthy, made vulnerable, and eventually ordered to kill himself by a paranoid emperor. He spent his life knowing that death could come at any moment, not as an abstract concept, but as a concrete reality. And this awareness shaped everything he wrote. It gave his words a weight and urgency that comes from truly understanding that time is borrowed, not owned. When he wrote about not wasting time, he was not speaking theoretically. He was speaking from the knowledge that his own time was limited and uncertain. He was speaking from the experience of watching others waste their lives and the determination not to waste his own. He was speaking from the wisdom that comes from treating every day as though it might be your last, not in a panicked way, but in a way that brings clarity and purpose to every choice. This is what he offers you across the span of centuries. Not a philosophy to study, but a way to live. Not ideas to agree with, but practices to implement. Not comfort, but challenge. The challenge to look at your life honestly and ask if this is really how you want to spend it. The challenge to stop making excuses and start making changes. The challenge to stop waiting for the perfect moment and recognize that this moment, right now, is the only moment you have. So what will you do with it? What will you do with today? What will you do with the time that remains? Will you waste it the way you wasted yesterday? Will you give it away to distractions and trivialities and the comfortable numbness of routine? Or will you claim it? Will you use it? Will you treat it like the precious, irreplaceable resource that it is? The choice is yours. It has always been yours. No one can make it for you. No one can live your life for you. No one can give you back the time you have already wasted. But you can start now. You can start today. You can start this very moment to live differently, to live intentionally, to live like someone who understands that time is the raw material of life, and you are the one who decides what to build with it. Seneca would tell you that it is never too late to start. Even if you have wasted years, decades, most of your life, you can still make what remains count. You can still use whatever time you have left to become who you want to be, to do what matters, to live in a way that you will not regret. But you have to start. You have to choose. And you have to keep choosing, day after day, moment after moment. Because the default is always drift, and the easy path is always waste. Your life is happening right now, not tomorrow, not someday. Right now. This day, this hour, this breath, and you will never get it back. Never. These words you are hearing right now. This moment of awareness, this is your life unfolding in real time. And when this moment passes, it will be gone forever, replaced by the next moment, and then the next. An endless cascade of present moments that become past moments that become the story of your life. And one day sooner than you think, there will be no more moments. There will be no more time. There will only be the life you've built or the life you failed to build. The days you used well or the days you wasted. The person you became or the person you could have been. The question Seneca poses to you is simple and terrible and unavoidable. What are you going to do with the time you have left? Are you going to waste it or use it? Are you going to sleepwalk or wake up? Are you going to keep telling yourself that you will start living later? Or are you going to recognize that later is a lie and now is all you have? Time is passing. Right now, as you hear these words, time is passing. You are older than you were when this began. You are closer to the end. The clock is ticking. The days are disappearing. And there is no pause button. There is no way to stop it. All you can do is choose what you do with it while it lasts. All you can do is make it matter. All you can do is live deliberately, intentionally, fully while you still can. Because the alternative, the slow waste of a life spent asleep, is too terrible to accept. Not when you know better. Not when you have been shown the truth. Not when you have been given this moment, right now, to choose differently. So choose. Choose to live. Choose to wake up. Choose to stop wasting the irreplaceable gift of your existence on things that do not deserve it. Choose to become who you are capable of becoming. Choose to use your time well, because you will never have more time than you have right now. And right now is all you need if you use it like someone who understands what it is worth.